Hi Pete, how are you?
Oh, hi Sophie, I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm quite happy to be doing this.
It's such a pleasure to be talking to you and
Thank you.
humbled by your presence.
Oh, oh dear.
Is that the painting that you did behind you?
Yes, yeah, it's one of my paintings. It's quite an old one. I did it in the 1990s.
Oh wow, it's a nice optical illusion. I remember the first time I saw your paintings, I thought they were all digital, and then when you told me that they were real paintings, I was blown away.
Oh, right. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm pleased that you like them. Yeah.
So how long have you been in these type of optical illusion paintings?
A long time. I started actually in 1970. I was 16, nearly 17 years old, and I was doing an art course at a local college to me. And it was all landscapes, portraits, and still lifes, which I was all right at, but didn't particularly inspire me. And then I was in the art section of a library one day, and I pulled a book at random off the shelf, and it was a book about op art, the movement, the 1960s art movement of sort of dazzling, mostly black and white patterns, but there were some colour works in there as well. And I just thought, this is what I want to do. And they wouldn't let me do it in the course I was doing. No, you've got to paint this vase of flowers, sort of thing. So I left the course and did my own thing.
That's wonderful to hear. It's always inspiring to hear when people just pursue their passions, no matter what the critique and feedback is from everyone around them. Yeah. I know I also had to, when I first thought I'm an artist, I had to, get my parents used to the idea that this is an actual profession.
Yeah. Right.
Did you first start with just black and white optical?
No. Actually, the first paintings I did were colour. They weren't the first paintings I did, obviously, because I sort of had been doing paintings before, but more in the style that they wanted me to paint in. But the first sort of geometric abstract paintings I did were sort of stripes of colour and so on. Yeah, so I did do a few black and white ones. And I'm actually just in the process of doing another version of an early black and white painting I did, but in grayscales rather than just black and white. So it'd be interesting to see how that turns out.
I quite enjoyed the purple and green ones that you did just recently.
Oh, right, yeah. Purple and green is one of my favourite colour combinations. I don't know why, I return to it quite often.
Yeah, it's nice, a very nice complement. Complementary colours.
Yeah.
So what challenges did you run into when you first started?
None really. I hate to say it. I mean, after leaving this art course, I got a job. It was, art was just a hobby, really. My parents were quite supportive. They're very kind of relaxed parents. I was very lucky, really, that they were, so long as I was happy, they were happy, and they didn't want me to waste my life. I mean, when I left the art course, I did sort of trot around not doing anything, not looking for work or anything, and after about 3 or 4 months they did sort of say, oh look, you need to start thinking about getting some money, so I got this job, and at first I thought it was just going to be temporary, but it turned into quite a career for me, and I retired from a proper job in 2014, so that's nearly 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I've been painting pretty full time since then. So.
You, in our previous discussions, you had mentioned that you're really involved with the community and you know, you have these group meetings every week, or?
Yeah, that started off quite well. I belong to there's a sort of arts community that I belong to called Arts Visual Arts, and every September they do an open studios thing, you know, where they kind of advertise it and people go around to the artists' houses to see them at work and so on. The thing is that I lived in a house not near any other artists, so I used to get very few visitors. So I think people used to like doing a sort of trail, you know, go from one artist to the next. And when you're an outlier, you didn't get many visitors. So I joined a group of artists who were doing this open studios, but in a pop-up, otherwise empty shop in our local shopping centre a few years ago. And in fact, that exhibition proved so popular that the shopping centre said that we could stay there. So we had this kind of collective of local artists, and every month or so we'd change the exhibition around. Some of the artists would drop out, new ones would come in. I stayed there all the time, but changed my display and everything. Yeah, so we've got quite a thing going with that. It's a good feeling, you know. We have to steward it all ourselves. So, you know, when I'm there stewarding it, there's other artists there as well. It's nice talking to them and chatting about their styles and techniques and everything. You know, it's really nice sort of feeling.
What's the name of the collective again?
Decorum Creatives.
Do they have? Is it on Facebook or LinkedIn or?
We've got a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's the Facebook page is called Decorum Creatives Art Hub.
Okay.
I mean, I can send you a link to it if you know, when we finish talking.
Sure.
That's any help now.
And do you meet there once a week, even if it's changed around once a month?
No, well, I'm there at least once a week.
Okay.
At one time, the first shop that the shopping centre loaned us was a very large space indeed, and it was really great. Had a lot of wall space, and there was enough room for me to go in and take a painting in with me and work on a painting if I wanted to. You know, unfortunately, that shop got flooded by a burst mains water pipe.
No.
The shopping centre have now given us. Luckily, none of the works were affected. There are a couple of other artists' work were a bit water damaged, but they've said they're all repairable, you know, so that's lucky. The council have now given us another shop that's quite a bit smaller, so I've got less wall space and there's no room to, you know, to go in and demonstrate, which is a bit unfortunate.
So how many shops are you a part of?
Well, just one at a time.
Oh, one at a time. Okay.
It's a large shopping centre, and it does. Unfortunately, at the moment, it has quite a few empty shops because of the economic situation.
Yeah.
So, and they say they might have to move us around regularly. Something to do with some grants they get from the government.
Okay.
If they move us regularly, we don't have to pay rent.
Oh.
Which is good because the rent can be quite expensive.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to somebody who's starting out, and maybe they hadn't realized they were an artist, but now they're going to it as a profession? What advice would you give them to keep a balance, or any advice?
Yeah, I might not be a good choice for asking about balance because I'm afraid I'm terrible. I paint pretty well non-stop. If I'm at home, you know, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, or sometimes even later, I'm painting. Luckily, I have a very supportive wife who does. I do the cooking. Most of the cooking at home I do, but my wife tends to do the rest of the chores of cleaning and. We do shopping together, you know. So, but having a very supportive wife like that is good because I can just paint and paint and paint.
Yeah.
But my advice to someone starting out really is to just do as much as you can, as often as you can, and don't sort of start thinking about artist block or whatever. A blank sheet of paper or something in front of you. draw on it, do whatever, just do something, and soon you'll probably soon develop your own style and ideas and so on, and take it from there.
How long does it take you to finish the painting? Is it depending on the size?
Yeah, it depends on the size. I mean, excuse me. I average about around a painting a week. And so, I work in foot squares. So I've got 1 foot square, 2 foot squares, 3 foot squares, and 2 foot squares is my main. It's the size I use most, and they take about five days of work. About 40, 45 hours work each. So larger ones. I'm working on a 3 foot square one at the moment. That's likely to take me 7 or 8 working days.
Wow.
To do. Whereas a 12-inch
really
one,
amazing.
Doing 1 or 2.
Phenomenal, the work that you've done. How many paintings do you think you've done in your life?
I really don't. I mean, funny enough, starting this collective thing, I was having trouble finding my paintings that I wanted to exhibit, because they're stored all over the house, behind cupboards and behind sofas and under the bed and things. So my wife and I, a couple of months ago, we did a sort of inventory of every painting of mine in the house. I set up a spreadsheet, sort of saying where they all were, so that I can find them easily. And there are over 500 entries on the spreadsheet.
Oh wow!
So
yeah, I feel like I've done more than 1,000, but I've just given so many away when I first started, and I didn't take inventory because I was constantly fighting like the forces of nature. One day I came home from work, and the apartment's an old building, and it was caught on fire, and I went through a lot of losing things, so then I just stopped counting. I just started just saying it's not important how many I have or how much I've done, that I just need to keep going, like you said, and it's very important that I just don't give up.
Yeah. I mean, it's purely, if I hadn't done this sort of inventory recently, I wouldn't have a clue how many I'd done.
And I'm
I was
sure
really
there's
surprised.
even more because of all the stuff that you didn't count from previous.
Yeah. It's right, stuff I've sold, or like you, when I started out, I gave them away to friends and things and didn't really keep a record of them. So I was fortunate in that I had a friend who was very interested in photography, and he would often photograph my paintings when I'd done them, but I wasn't that bothered about it,
Oh, maybe you could ask him now.
Sorry?
Maybe you could
I photograph
them
now. Yeah, I photograph them now. When as soon as it's finished, I've got a digital SLR, and I take good quality photographs of them as soon as they're finished.
That's really great, Pete.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of commissioned work?
Not a lot. I mean, funny you asked that. I mean, I've actually recently had a couple of commissions, which were good. Someone wanted me to rework a couple of older paintings that I'd done in blues and browns into grayscales.
Oh.
And at first I said, I don't think I can do it, because the blue and brown, where some of them are the same tone as each other, they kind of beat off each other and cause this, And then I thought, well, actually, I'll try it. So I converted a digital image of it to grayscale first to sort of see whether it worked, and it did. So I thought, well, okay, I'll try it in real life, and I did it. It worked really nicely. So that was 2 paintings.
Have it with you, or is it already? Did you already give it away?
He's taken one of them. The other one's still here.
Oh, okay. Do you want to show it to me?
Yeah, I can do. Can I turn this camera around?
Yeah, I think you can. Or you can just bring it and leave the camera where it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's right beside me, actually, so...
oh, wow.
That's it there.
I love it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
that was
amazing.
yeah, that was a version. As I say, the original version of that was in blues and browns.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can see. If you can see it,
Yeah, I see the
large circles
contrast.
interwoven with four squares, four sets of squares. I think the circles were blue in the original, and the squares were ones.
Yeah.
So,
I think like there's not enough people that know that you're out there to order commissions from you, because you have such excellent work, and it would be like an honor to have for anyone to have a piece of your art. It's really great.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any plans of traveling, or?
Sorry.
Oh, do you have any future plans of traveling, or?
No, I tend to be a bit of a stick in the mud. I don't travel much. I never have really liked going away. It always seems, people talk about sort of jetting off for a 2-week holiday somewhere and so on, and it never seemed relaxing to me. I mean, I've done it, but it never seems relaxing to me. The kind of fretting of, catching your flight and doing things when you're out there, and I find it quite stressful. So I'd always rather sort of just stay at home painting.
Yeah, I used to be like that too, and now I feel like I should at least try to go to a few places and then just stay steady at home, because I am kind of a homebody when it comes to doing things.
Yeah.
When I used to paint a lot at home.
Right.
I didn't like painting in front of other people, but the idea is like kind of challenging. And I'm still 42, going on 43, so it might be interesting to interact with an audience, even though that's not the way that I feel like I like to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I mean, I suppose I should really go away more. The last time I went away anywhere, I mean, I've got some sisters who live a distance away, and I could go and stay with them sometimes, But so I do leave home occasionally. The last time I went away abroad on a holiday, I went to France in 2014, and it did actually lead to a series of paintings. An interesting story. It shows how blind people are to things that they see every day. In France, I was going around, I was looking, they had these sort of manhole covers, for drains and sewers. Access to sewers. I was looking, that's a nice pattern, and I was photographing them, thinking I can use them for paintings. And when I got home, I found actually that here in the UK, we had the same patterns on our drain covers, and that. It's just I'd never noticed them. That you see these things so often that you become blind to them. And it was only being in a strange environment and seeing something like that, and I thought, yes, sort of opening up to something. It led to a series of paintings that I did early 2015, which I posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I noticed that some of the people were doing like the block printing, like inking these manholes and then putting T-shirts on them.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Yeah,
really big trend. But I personally haven't done anything like that. But maybe you could get into like some other. That could be like another outlet for you or something.
Yeah. I was thinking about having T-shirts and that on sale at exhibitions, but the trouble is, it's a big financial outlay to get them made up, and have lots of sizes for people and everything. And I can't. I've got a page on a site called Redbubble. Where people
you should
get
share that with me, and I'll definitely put that out with your podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll message you with that. And I'll message you with links to a few things.
Okay.
I've got online then, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience regarding your styles and how they evolved? Yeah. Well, it was very nice talking to you.
All right, thank you. It's been nice talking to you as well. It's a real pleasure. So, thank you for the opportunity and the promotion you're making for me.
And we can definitely do this again, as you come out with newer art. If you want to show them on the podcast, we can do this again if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, we'll play by ear and see what happens.
Play by ear, yeah.
Okay.
It's so lovely having you.
Right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.